Franz Kafka wrote a short story that almost no one reads. It is less than 2 pages long. It is about Poseidon, the god of the sea. And it might be the most devastating critique of modern identity ever written. In the story, Poseidon sits at his desk. He is doing calculations. He is buried in paperwork. He has a staff of administrators. He manages the oceans, all of them, with meticulous bureaucratic precision. And he has never seen the sea. Let that sink in. The god of the ocean has never experienced the ocean. Not once. He is too busy managing it to actually live it. Kafka is doing what Kafka always does, taking the absurd and making it feel uncomfortably familiar. Because we all know a Poseidon. We might even be one. The person whose job title has consumed their identity. The person who manages the relationship instead of being in it. The person who curates the image of their life on social media instead of actually living it. The person who has become the administrator of their own existence, rather than the participant in it. Nietzsche would recognize this story immediately as a cautionary tale about the ego. Not ego in the colloquial sense, not arrogance or self-importance, but ego as the structure of identity that we construct and then mistake for ourselves. Poseidon's ego is his godhood. He is Poseidon, ruler of the sea. That is who he is. That identity is everything to him. And because it is everything, he must protect it. He must maintain it. He must do the work of being Poseidon, the paperwork, the administration, the endless management of what it means to be the god of the ocean. But here is the trap that Kafka identified and that Nietzsche would immediately recognize. The more you invest in being something, the less you actually experience being anything. The identity becomes a cage. You cannot swim in the ocean because you are too busy being the ruler of it. You cannot enjoy the relationship because you are too busy performing the role of partner. You cannot experience life directly because you are too busy managing the narrative of who you are. This is the prison of ego. It is self-imposed. The door is always open. Poseidon could walk out at any moment. But he does not. Because to walk out would be to admit that the paperwork does not matter. And his entire identity, everything he thinks he is built on the assumption that the paperwork is the most important thing in the universe. What Nietzsche would add to Kafka's insight is this. The ego is not just a prison. It is a prison that you built yourself, and that you maintain yourself, and that you could leave yourself, if you had the courage to admit that you built it for nothing. Nietzsche's concept of self-overcoming is directly relevant here. To overcome yourself is not to improve yourself within the existing framework of your identity. It is to destroy that framework entirely. It is to look at the person you have been, the Poseidon at the desk, drowning in paperwork, and say, I am done with this. I am walking out. I am going to see the sea. But most people cannot do this. Not because they lack the ability, but because they lack the willingness to confront the void. If you are not Poseidon, if you are not the administrator of the oceans, then who are you? If you are not your job title, not your relationship status, not your social media persona, not your reputation, what is left? For most people, the answer is terrifying. Nothing is left. Because they never built a self. They built a resume. And a resume is just paperwork. The tragedy of Poseidon is not that he is trapped. The tragedy is that he is free and does not know it. He could leave. He could swim. He could feel the water on his skin. If he had skin, if he had a body, if he had allowed himself to be something other than a god. But he did not. And so he sits, drowning in paperwork, ruler of an ocean he has never touched. What would it actually mean to escape the Poseidon trap? It would mean something terrifying, the willingness to be nothing. To let go of the title, the role, the reputation, the carefully constructed image of who you are, and to stand naked in front of reality without any of it. Nietzsche called this the revaluation of all values. It is the moment when you stop asking, what should Poseidon do? And start asking, what would I do if I were not Poseidon? And the answer to that question might be the first honest thing you have ever thought about yourself. Kafka never finished most of his stories. He left them as fragments. The Poseidon story is just a sketch, a few paragraphs. But it contains an entire philosophy. We are all administrators of seas we have never swum in. We are all managers of identities we did not choose, but now cannot abandon. We are all Poseidon, sitting at the desk, waiting for permission to live, when the only person who can give that permission is ourselves. The ocean is right there. The door is open. The paperwork will never be finished. And the only question that matters is this. Are you going to die at that desk? Or are you going to stand up, walk out, and finally see the sea?